Morning. I am out here at Land Between the Lakes again, and I don't really have a lot I want to do. I'm parked right outside of Panther Creek. I do want to wander down and take a peek at Two Hammocks Camp, see what it looks like. Hopefully it's not in too bad a shape, and maybe we can get a couple adventures in here this year. I would like to find, because there is not a lot to do at Two Hammocks Camp once you get set up, other than just watch the little stream, which is pretty enough by itself. But I would like to maybe find a place where we can easily cross the stream, and that might be a little difficult today, being as it rained a lot yesterday, a real lot. So the creek is probably going to be up pretty high. But nonetheless, I would like to see if there's an easy place to ford the creek. And just on that side of the creek, there's a nice big open field, which kind of parallels the creek on the other side of Two Hammocks Camp. But if you can find a way across that, maybe there'll be a place where we can watch some wildlife in the evenings or something camped out here. So that's kind of the goal outside of just getting out of the house. A little side note, driving in here this morning, probably 2 or 3 miles back ago, I seen my very first ever wild hog. He was in a little field adjoining the road, and as I slowed down to try to get my phone out of my pocket and snap a picture of him, he very quickly ran across the road and then into the woods on the other side. So you'll just have to take my word for it that I seen it. But that was pretty cool. I have never seen a wild pig before, so that was pretty exciting. Kind of a calico little fellow, very very solid. Not something you would want to hit with the car, that's for sure. And I've got one thing I want to see back up here on the road face real fast. Last week when we were out here kayaking, I drove by it and it grabbed my interest, but that was at 40 miles an hour. So I'm going to walk up here before we get started and just see if I can't find it real quick. Yeah, so that, right there it is. Boswell Cemetery number 2. Just a little ways past where I parked. Let's go check it out. Yeah, so this is pretty neat. You can see where there used to be an old fence around it. Kind of cool. Can't read this one. Probably this guy right here. Just Mr. John Boswell, Private Company B, Heavy Artillery, 50th Tennessee Infantry. Excuse my foot. 1840 to 1911. There's a couple. Another unlegible one. Excuse me, sir. I can't really read that one either. over here. Yeah. Like I said, just something I seen from the roadside when I drove by it. Wanted to take a peek at. Okay, I'm heading back towards the truck. I have showed you this before. There's remnants of an old home site right here. I don't know what it is at all. A lot of concrete. Maybe it is part of the Boswell home site. I would think so, being that it's only 35-40 yards from those graves. But I don't know, and it is not marked. But pretty neat, just the same. I wish this land could talk a little bit more than what it does. I know there is a big story it could tell. Yeah, so we are not going to follow the creek because it's flowing pretty good. And although it's a much prettier hike in, there's a spot where you got to walk through a lot of bottomlands. And as much rain as we've had, the bottomlands I'm sure are pretty swampy. So we're going to go up a little higher on the ridge and come at it from high ground, which should be equally enjoyable. So we are in quite a bit of pines, really, and that's kind of unique for around here. Mostly we're mixed hardwoods, but this ridgeline has a really good stand of pines. Some of them some pretty good sized ones too. I do not know if it's from a previous logging and replanting or if it's just natural. Could not tell you. But there's something about walking a pine forest that I really like, especially in the wintertime. It adds a certain depth of quietness. Yeah, it's pretty. Oh yeah, she is flowing good. Okay, so you're not going to see it well. I'll try to zoom a little bit. But that little point out there just beyond the tree branches that the camera's focusing on is Two Hammocks Camp. but she is really moving. What a beautiful little stream though. Yeah, we are here. Looks like the water's been up over its banks once or twice this year already. Or some pretty heavy runoff back here. So, the second big tree on the right here to this moss-covered tree is where I string my hammock usually. And the same moss-covered tree to this moss-covered tree is where my wife strings her hammock. Okay, I think we got camp somewhat established. Somewhere out here there's, I don't think I'm going to find it anymore, our fire ring. And I lost a ferro rod out here last year. It would be really kind of a neat, cool find to find it, but I don't foresee that happening. Man, the waters have been rough out here. This looks a lot more torn up than it did before. It's a lot flatter. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so this little flat bar right here, it was still, I mean, it was like this last year, but you know, where we are camped is a little further up on that point. But come down here again this year, I would still use the hammock trees, and then use this little flat bar here as our little base of operation. It's a lot more smoother, but and you can see how the water just came through here, smoothed it out for us. Nature's pretty cool that way. You keep coming back to this familiar spot and it yet be different. Oh, there's some more of them pretty little red flowers. I think though, while I'm out here, I'm going to just fix me up a little lunch. Nothing overly fancy by any means. It's a little after 11 and I have not eaten anything since I got up this morning. So I've got one of them little twisted meals that I like so much. This one's Mexican smoked paprika with lime and rice. So I think I'll just make that up. And I've got a little bonus, and I don't usually take these kind of things with me, but it's cool. And it was a short walk in, so I didn't think that it would go bad while I was out and about today. So I've got the last of some smoked pork shoulder, and shredded up from several meals of pulled pork barbecue. So I'm just going to top that off with that. That should be a good little lunch, I think. My Stanley Cup and my little stove that I have a love-hate relationship with. So, gonna make me up a little lunch, and then try to explore a little bit around here, but that field and everything is on that side of the creek, and I don't see fording this thing today. So it might be just a quick little turnaround after lunch. Still won't be a bad day though.
That's good. The smoke from the pork, that enhances it quite a bit. Yeah, that's really good.
Well, I think that's kind of it. I didn't, I can go downstream a little ways longer, but I know from past outings, I'm not going to be able to afford to stream down there either. And then it starts getting pretty marshy down there as this little creek dumps into Panther Bay. So I don't think I'm going to go explore that this time. I'm going to just, excuse me. I'm going to wrap this video up here, I think. I got one more spot I want to check out before I head home. I'm going to kind of keep that to myself for a few minutes until until there might be a reveal. So I think I'm just going to end this here for today. And just want to thank you for hanging out with me, for coming back down here to Two Hammocks, which is just a lovely little spot. And I really love this spot. I wish, in a lot of ways, I wish it was in a different climate, because back home in New Hampshire, a little stream like this would probably have quite a few trout in it, but we are too warm in the summer for trout. And I know it doesn't get stocked, so I wouldn't think much about that. Sorry, I had a piece of rice stuck under my lip. But nonetheless, it's a beautiful spot. It's just peaceful and tranquil. So again, thank you for coming down here and exploring again with me, and for hanging out. And we'll see you next time.